This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
I wonder, do you have an injury update on Josenberger, Wagner, and Stovall?
So Josenberger's looking good. Worked out with us yesterday. He'll be out there again today. So he'll be on the roster again. Wagner obviously got his pins out on Monday. I'm still pretty sore. He'll be on the roster. Still not sure about playing yet. Not swinging the bat with the team at all yet. So probably highly unlikely this weekend. And then Stovall, shoulders not doing great. So probably not as of now put him on the roster, and we'll see how that goes.
You know, you were so complimentary of your infield last year and how good they were. But if you look at the numbers, this year's has been almost as effective for you. I wonder, has that been a surprise, maybe a pleasant surprise with how well you've had your infield play?
Well, I mean, nothing surprises me really anymore as far as how they play, because they work hard. They're good players. We just had such a good infield last year that it's going to be hard to duplicate it in a year when you have different guys in all the positions really. So, I mean, maybe a little surprised, but I've seen it in practice where we've played awfully well. Just glad that they're making plays in the games, because that's when it counts.
And then one more, Caleb Cali being at third base. It seems like the infield play has really improved since he's taken over that position. How crucial was that to the success you've had?
It's been big for him to go out there and really get comfortable. Because, you know, not just playing there and hitting and being a force in the lineup. Now he's playing good defense. I feel like that his range has increased a step or so, that just by playing himself into shape and getting comfortable. And when he's got to the ball, he's made most of the plays.
Ellis?
Yeah, Coach, do you have a set starting rotation this weekend or an idea of how you're going to handle that?
We'll do what we've been doing. Smith will start this week again, and then we'll TBA it. And because, you know, we could use those guys out of the pen. We're going to do what we got to do to win Friday, and we'll TBA it on Sunday as well. Obviously after the game, I'll be able to give you, a Saturday starter, and then obviously you pretty much know who's going to throw Sunday if he's feeling good.
And then with Tiger, I feel like last week at some point you mentioned that, around 60 pitches was maybe the goal. I was wondering how he's feeling and if that's still kind of where you're looking at things for this weekend with him.
Yeah, he's built up. It's up to him to pitch well and kind of earn his way to that number again. And, but he's feeling good. Knock on wood, it stays that way.
Bob?
Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Good.
South Carolina, they're obviously having a really good season too, but they've been bit by the injury bug, kind of like you guys have been. Kind of what's your take on their team and their season and how they're dealing with stuff like you guys have?
I've been following them since the beginning of the season. They got up to such a great start. I mean, they might have been undefeated for the first 3 or 4 weeks, it seemed like. I think they have a great team. They have some veterans back in some key spots. I know they've had some injuries, but they have a lot of pitching. They strike you out a lot, and they hit balls over your head. A lot of them go out of the park. They still have like 84, 85 doubles. They got 103 home runs. That's a lot of extra base hits. And so no lead is safe. And I think they probably feel that way as an offense. They can catch you. If you let your guard down, they can get you. So they can run when they need to. They've got a good stolen base percentage, like 44, 45 out of 50 or something like that. Or maybe, yeah, I mean, it's really good. But so that means they're picking and choosing their times, and it's worked out for them. So they're a dangerous team. They're really good. They're ranked in the top 10 for a reason. They've gone on the road and been good. They've been good at home. So I know they've lost a few games in a row. We've been there. It can change real quick.
I know if the season ended today, you guys would obviously be a top 8 seed. but there's a couple big series left against really good teams. Just how do you feel about going into these last two series and positioning yourselves, the best possible way to be a top 8 seed?
Well, the way this season's gone with all that we've had to endure and how we've had to fight, we haven't really talked about that stuff. We don't talk about it with the team at all. And, we're just going to try to win Friday. So really, I don't really have a comment on it. We're just feel lucky or fortunate to be where we're at. The guys have played just good enough on the weekends. Midweek games had almost become a little bit of an issue, obviously, down the stretch because of our numbers, but the weekends have been good to us the last couple of weeks. But, they just, we'll either earn our way into your 8 or whatever. Doesn't matter.
I think you guys are 28-3 at home, something like that. I know South Carolina's really good, but how good do you feel playing South Carolina or anybody here at home? As far as
Yeah, we've been good at home. I've mentioned that many times that this team has played really well here. You look at South Carolina; they're 25-4 at home, so they're really good at their place too. And sometimes that's the way it works. I don't know. I just feel like we're comfortable here. We know how to play in the wind, whether it's blowing in or out. The surface, we're used to the fans. I don't know. It's been really good this year so far.
Ted, one more if I could. I know you'd like to be full strength, obviously, but the guys who have filled in have done a pretty good job. Just how good do you feel about, I guess, the depth your team, the lineup is showing, and how those guys have filled in?
I think the team's done a great job of as playing, and just being a team this year. We recognized that in the fall that the team, for as many new guys as we had, they got along. They hung out at the ballpark. They'd stay late. I mentioned earlier this semester that when we gave them a day off one time in the fall, in the off season, as far as weights and no skill instruction, they organized a ping pong tournament. The whole team was there in the locker room, and I heard it got a little crazy, a little loud, and very competitive, and that just kind of solidified what we thought we saw, and I think it's carried over into the spring. Yeah, everybody wants to play, but the guys that aren't playing, I feel good about the way they're acting in the dugout and pulling for their teammates. And bottom line, they just want to win the game. And I think when these guys get in, they've done a great job making plays. They may not have been a great offensive night, but they made some defensive plays, and they're just all picking each other up. It's been a good experience for me to watch, honestly.
Hey, thanks, Dave.
Robert?
Yeah, Coach, left field has been kind of a revolving door with Josenberger and Wagner out. If those two can't go again this weekend, how do you envision you using that spot? I know you threw Jason Jones out there last week.
Well, it would be more of a defensive position, at least at the beginning of the series. So if there's a right-hander on the mound, we'd go with Mason DeVille. If there's a lefty, probably more like Hunter Grimes or something, until we kind of see what we're up against and then go from there. But that's probably the way we do it if one of those two guys wasn't in the lineup.
Did you like what you saw from Jones and left last week?
That's kind of throwing him out there a little bit. I guess to answer your question, for as little time as he's been out there, I thought he did a good job. We're talking fly ball work and pregame BP, chasing balls down off the bat. I thought he did about as well as he could.
Bill.
Dave, last week against Mississippi State on Sunday, that was about as good as Zach Morris looked all year. Looked like his command back velocity was really good. It's good timing for Zach to get back to where he might have looked like last year. What did you see from Zach Morris this past weekend?
Well, it really started on Tuesday night in Little Rock. We felt like he threw really well. He threw a lot of strikes, and he just looked more like he did, when he's throwing well, and then gave us the confidence to put him in the game in a tight situation. You get to Sunday, you're a little low on pitching, and you use 5 or 6 guys, and he's a guy that we want to put out there anytime in the series. And he did a great job, held him down for 3 innings, and gave us an opportunity to get to the 9th, and then and win that game and get out of there. So it was really good to see Zach pitching like we know he can.
Dave, I talked to Zach on Monday, and he said in the context of this season, he's really enjoyed himself, even though he's battled, and hasn't had the kind of regular season that he would have hoped for. He's a team captain, and I just wonder about, how his attitude may have at least helped, even if he hasn't been pitching up to speed, how he's helped this team gel, because they just seem to play so well together and get along so well that I would figure he's a part of that.
He's a big part of that. I think the team has recognized that, that he isn't pouting around and poor old me and feeling sorry for himself. And it's more about team success. And when he goes out and it didn't go good, a lot of those outings early, he didn't just go sit in the corner and he was still pulling for his teammates, and body language is good because, Zach doesn't say a whole lot. He just works hard. And I guarantee you that the team recognized that. I know the coaches did.
Alyssa.
Hey, Dave, with Kendall moving up to that leadoff space and then going into right field, and then you've had McLaughlin step in, just how nice is it to see Kendall kind of take that next step and step up when he is needed? And then you've got McLaughlin, who has kind of really picked up where Kendall was as your DH.
Yeah, it's been one reason we've won some games down the stretch, obviously, because, we could keep Kendall's bat in the lineup and bring McLaughlin in to swing the bat. And he's been very consistent for us. He makes contact. And, the key was that, Kendall could run and catch the ball. And, he's a new outfielder. We started working him there a little bit in the fall. But he would always just gravitate back to the infield. And finally, when he realized, hey, I'm not starting in here in the spring, started moving out there a little bit. But once he got out there, he's just gotten better and better at, just even style, catching the ball looks so much easier and freer and not so unnatural. And this is good for us this year, but it's also going to be good for him going forward. It's going to be as far as his career, and then for next year for us, he's a legitimate returner that can play outfield. So it's been big. McLaughlin, he showed a knack for hitting the ball on the barrel a lot in the fall. And we were going to bring him along slow, get him going this spring, and then he hurt his ankle or hurt his knee. And then when he got well, a bad hair there. And then obviously with the injury, he was the first guy we went to at the DH, and he's been good ever since.
Kendall's just kind of a fun player to watch too. He plays with so much energy and excitement. And as the leadoff guy, that feels like that trickles down too to those guys.
Yeah, I agree. And so, I think Kendall's been a great leadoff guy. I think Josenberger's a great leadoff guy. I feel like I have two of them if they're both aligned at the same time. So it'll be interesting how we handle that.
All right, Matt closes out.
Hey, Coach, Ethan Petrie looks like he might be the National Freshman of the Year. I think he's batting .395. What would have been your thoughts watching him this week?
What's amazing to me is the batting average with the home runs. And a lot of times you don't see that. You'll see the home runs and a .290 batting average because there's a lot of swing and miss in there, and all or nothing. But his strikeouts, they're pretty good. I mean, he struck out mid 40s and probably 20-30 walks, something like that. And but when he gets pitched to hit, it looks like he doesn't miss it, whether it's a line drive single or a home run. I mean, 21 home runs as a 19-year-old. I imagine he's 19. Pretty amazing. I mean, this is a really high level of baseball, and he's kind of making it look easy, honestly.
And then Will Sanders, you saw him a couple of years ago over there in Columbia. From what you've seen this year, is there something different about him?
He's just awfully good. He's got a good arm, big, good slider, good changeup. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he's been injured or whatever, but I've seen him throw some really good games and innings this year. So I know they didn't announce him as a starter, I'm sure they've got him, unless there's something going on, he's injured, but I would imagine they're going to piggyback him off, or they're leaving Saturdays open. He could go there, but he's Will Sanders. He's been through the league. He's really good.
BetOnline.ag is your #1 source for all your basketball info, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest player reports for this year's pro basketball playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters this season, as we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. Basketball, MLB, NHL hockey, right down to UFC and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games you can play right from your home. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's BLEAV. BLEAV. Bet online, where the game starts.